So, our next poet on tonight, I did a reading with her fairly recently, the first time I met her, Kate Potts, and I bought her book, which I've really enjoyed reading. I know she's got some books on sale tonight. Her first book was published by Tall Lighthouse, and she's just had a new book out from Blood Eggs, which I think there's some copies here tonight.
Yeah, there's a few.
There's a few, so you'll have to fight for those. But anyway, I'm really pleased to welcome, first time at Dodo Modern Poets, Kate Potts.
Thank you. I haven't had the book, for very long, so you have to forgive me if I end up kind of shuffling through the pages, because I'm not kind of familiar with the order, really. Okay, so the first poem I'm going to read it came out of, I tried to write a series of short stories about different ways of falling, which failed miserably because I'm a very bad story writer, which is why I write poetry. This is called Acrobat Falls. Atrophied flight, from star-armed hushing of ripe air to a chin-bone crump, grit in the gums between your soft teeth. The night's conversation, you hoik at a word, the map slips, whole oily continents spinning through fault lines, fizzing, delicious. A breathless crumble and thud. His goodbye fingers a tiny unnamed bone that undoes, howls you into the high road's glass wind. Okay, the next one came about as a result of a job I had doing reminiscence sessions with elderly people with memory problems. So I ended up with a whole load of their stories, basically. So there's several poems in the book that are from that period. And I think this is the best one. This is called Unhistory. I have studied evacuees, rationing, the Maginot Line, British cinema of the 1940s. I'm young, graduate, able, a cataloguer of behaviour as if an interloper at the zoo. I busy the rememberers with questions, screen clips of David Niven's pluck, coal-black fighter planes stuttering out over the English Channel, a mirroring seam of rucked silver. My falseness, my foolishness, raises to a blush of chaff and dust. The past turns itself up in ironware and sensory ticks, the shallows of faces, their hollows and bones, wellings in breath. It's told how friends and sweethearts met to plan a party and the house was hit. None survived. On Sunday, their wedge of empty pews bowed with an absent mass of haunches, macintoshes, winter boots. The congregation would not see or speak of it. Farther back, in the last place on earth God made and forgot to finish, the Jarrow men, washed red rare, hungry in their Sunday suits, marched off for Parliament. Everyone's brother trumpeted in a dance band. Everyone practised the Lindy for the church hall hop, would walk an hour to the office or factory or home to stay in darning stockings or sewing a box pleat, weeding the garden vegetable plot. Sex was first a dicey, incorrigible thing, best performed in the dark or out in the commons, like witchery, and never safe until after the wedding. Those girls, Squiffy or Mickey Find, who did it with soldiers and swelled, bellies like bean pods, were quietly disappeared. In all this, there will be one who joined the Eastern Fleet and never saw the bombs hit home, who, 19, from Leytonstone, a rack-ribbed tug of body, saw Africa and Singapore. The sea-reflected light made all mass cut out sharp. The green of the land was so green he thought it painted on. He remembers, most of all, the flying fish. They'd shoal and hang like scaled spirits, fatted dragonflies kissing the boat's bows. Their falling back pitted the ocean's glass like rain. He saw himself grow backwards to a scorched and stringy boy, back to the old cheek and nous. The skies shook out, slackening each day. He'd never thought he had the right. Okay, the next one kind of was inspired by a woman I used to see quite regularly when I lived in Streatham. She'd be wearing kind of all her jewellery at once. And I always wondered how that came about. This is called Magpie. I grasp my spoils with yellow knuckles, hoard reflections, bask in silver. There are 57 pieces in my boot box, all of them fingered and loved to soar brightness. This feather-spun choker's a gift, sneaked from a pocket to save the intended. This anklet's bells tusk at the smallest movement, lullaby me when silence threatens. The charm bracelet belonged to his mother. Most are scavenged. I've a nose for the scent of silver. It's the oily calm of the winter Thames, an edge like the tartness of gin. I like to imagine my blood's a thread of wrought sterling. Without these charms, I'm animal, tender. So I wrote this one for it's kind of a Bob Dylan themed poetry night, but it doesn't have very much to do with Bob Dylan at all. It's just that it's called Subterranean Homesick Blue, with commas in between each word. On the TV's afternoon show, an iron, dark-glassed man steals the boy hero's laughter as if by magician's sleight. His quiet machine traps the attribute. It is a djinn, a zephyr, a pet trilling, a narcic churring beyond his ribcage bars. Off guard, the boy opens his stuttered maw, his gulp. The chords catch, a photograph, scalded, white. Oily in limousines, abroad, the iron-tough man stokes his stolen mirth, but buckles inward at the laughter's boyish kick in his brittle ribs. This morning, in my breaking hours, hurling from sleep's buttery ploy, the blank weave chord was like an atrophy of sound at source, a mind route clean off, sheared. Do you carry it with you, that sound, slick as a branded gadget under the bulletproof, pocketed below your left lung? Does it suit? Will it ratchet, appropriate to the moment? Will it kick? So there's another song-inspired one, which is kind of inspired by my favourite things from Sound of Music. Yeah. Which always kind of struck me as quite a sad song in a way. I've tried to do something different with it. So this is when the dog bites, when the bee stings. When the dog bites, when the bee stings, here's sci-fi vision tower blocks, tonka yellow, squat and shoring tawny brick. Behind, an intermittent centipede skate of commuter train. Sphere music, a behemoth's idled lung, the glass note climb and descent of aeroplanes, circling, banking, bowing the stratus. Or a back-seated early catapult bus ride, the lean land, slate and cinemascope, or in the open intervals, a fanfare for the common man. Mustard stripe bees foundered in summer in seeding grasses, 2 steel spoons in a mug or saucer. not satellite mapped, not glossy composite, no hard cell or veneer, but closer, endoscoped into new quantums and scapes. Thick chips, iced cider or gin's blued caustic brews. Thin bed sheets, slutted loose. You, drawled muscle and half seas over, pissed into the afternoon. Raindrops on roses? And my last one for this half. This is a poem that I did as a collaboration with another poet as part of the kind of exercise we were asked to do. And it uses a whole load of language from adverts that we just sort of borrowed. It's called Your Second Skin. Your second skin lies still in its shellacked case, folded in rice papers, oiled to an almost purple sheen. With porous muzzle, with self-lubricating silicone plumes for ease and comfort all day long. To begin, simply score yourself from nape to sternum, separate your peel from pith, and shuck off that standard issue rind. Fresh from the box, the fabric's even heft will seal your seams. Its viscous folds will tan with time as rolled pastry settles over fruit. It tugs on with a nylon cling, locking at each finger, airtight. The only scar's a discreet zip pull tucked snug in an armpit. You can eat and sleep in it. Beneath the leathercloth exterior, you'll find backlit function display, preloaded enhancements, auto-tune. It is also available in Lycra. With patented moisture-wicking technology, you'll never suffer from night sweats again. Engineered with ultradermal innovation, its subtle mechanics deliver fantastically daring manoeuvres, salsas, broom-covered clinches, souffle. Expect timed surges of adrenaline, cycles of inspiration, bringing you to briny road trips in November. Everything epic, the landscape taut, uplit, and repeatedly retouched. It is anything but a compromise. It is self-ironing, stain-resistant, a real investment piece. We are not suggesting you spend a fortune to please your loved one, only that you don't disappoint.
Do come in. A fine first set from Kate there, and I noticed she was reading from her new collection, so there are some copies available tonight. So please give another round of applause to Kate Potts. Thank you very much. The creaking stairs are a particular feature of this place, aren't they? Right. Our next poet reading tonight, Graham Buchan. He's from the Isle of Dogs, so his poetry's got a lot of bite. Graham has spent 35 years, he tells me, working in the British and American film industries, but he now concentrates on poetry and fiction. He's got a book and I think a CD for sale here tonight. So you're going to be very busy in the interval, buying lots of books and CDs, hopefully. Anyway, let's hear from Graham.